I loved funny cars, but when I saw a Mustang that flipped up in the middle of the car and had a monocoque chassis, I said, I got to build that thing, but I have to research it. I got to find pictures because there was hardly any pictures of this car anywhere.
It had basically a short existence.
Right, because it didn't really work.
Growing up, one of the cars I saw that I never thought I'd ever see in scale was this Mickey Thompson Mustang, this funny car, which is very innovative design. And you've got a ton of scratch building into it that is just gorgeous.
You asked me earlier which one would be my favorite. Well, I'd have to say this one because I put so much work into this thing. And growing up as a kid, Mickey Thompson was, one of my favorite drag racers, as Tommy Ivo and Don Garlits.
Oh, yeah.
But Mickey Thompson always came out with these ingenious cars. So I found a Hot Rod magazine that was on the cover, and I bought it hoping that I'd have some material in there, and it did. It had some, but not enough. So I was searching on Model Cars magazine for people that had pictures. And by luck, some guy says, John, I got some pictures for you. I'll send them to you. Yeah. So he scanned me a bunch of pictures of construction of this car. So I lucked out. Yeah. So this car is actually 99% accurate of what it is. I'm really proud of it. I did a lot of scratch building on this. This was a resin body that was one piece, and it was a 1970 Mustang. See, what happened was a friend of mine, Mark Garland, who had passed away a couple years ago, he did a lot of resin stuff, and he made a 1973 Mustang, I think. This was the only body that was close enough to do what I was doing. So I had to change the whole front end.
73?
Yeah. So I made it into a 1970.
Yeah.
I changed the back, I changed the front, but this was there was nothing out there that I could use. I made it look like the real car. I mean, the front and the back, and then I split it in half, and then I made the monocoque chassis and the roll cage and the seat and the fuel tank, and even it's got all the guts of a monocoque body inside there. You can look through the back and see all the panels underneath inside here, and from the front, that's a front end. It's a really weird car. I mean, it really is.
Weird, but so cool at the same time. It sits just right. And now, again, we're looking at, for the most part, plastic with paint.
Yes, there's no metal on this one at all.
The paint is convincing. It's like what you think is metal, looks just right.
As far as the paint job, that's a True Blue Pearl, House of Color, and then I airbrushed the graphics, the orange and the yellow and the red. Same thing on the sides and the bars. So when I put the body on, I had to mask it where everything was going to line up, all the painting and everything. And then my friend Steve Alderman again did the decals, and they're gold underlay and then an outlining of black that goes over that. And then once again, I put them on over a cleared body, cleared it again, sanded it again, cleared it again, and then sanded it again. And that's why you get a good depth of paint. And again, washes on the outclad.
All those places where things come together are the rivets. There's a certain bit of a shadowing there that really helps them lift.
You know what's funny is this whole piece is one piece, but around the edges here I use styrene, but all the rivets makes it look like they're paneled because those are decal rivets. And then I washed over that to make it look real. And I made, a lot of scratch stuff like the louvers in the back, the tins in here, the frame around the window, the chassis. I mean, if I turn this thing over, it is so clean underneath. It's just like, why I don't put on my sheets, don't pick up. I go ahead, do whatever you want.
So at home, do you have all these guys on display?
You know what? I've probably 300 models that are in my living room in showcases, and my wife is okay with it because she loves what I do. But I've only sold a few because I don't really like to sell them too cheap, but I've made some pretty good money selling some of them, and I do miss a lot of them that I've sold, but hey, I can build another one, right?
Yeah, that's the best part, is building anyway.
This is called the George Barris ZZR spy rod, and it was in a movie called Out of Sight in like 1966, I believe. And George Barris made a real car of this, okay? And then the model came out in like 67 or something like that. It was an AMT ZZR spy rod by George Barris. And the kit, those older AMT kits had at the most 30 to 35 parts. They weren't real super detailed or anything. I wanted to build this because, number one, you can't get one of these kits less than $300 on eBay. I got lucky, I got one for $150, but it was partially built. So when I got it, I looked at it and I go, boy, this is gonna be a challenge, because I wanted to open up the doors, I wanted to redo the ribs. The tires were one piece to the fenders, and I wanted to cut them out and just, plumb the engine. And in the back here, there's 3D printed, because back then in the kit, it was all embossed into the part already.
Oh,
so
like into one panel?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then like the flower pot over here was supposed to be like, it's got flowers in there, and I put some little flowers because they're just like, what it had in there was just, like I said, embossed stuff already where you would have to hand paint and whatever. I thought that looked better, making it look more real. And the paint is just Tamiya gold leaf. And this radiator, I tried to make it brass like the real car, and I had to alclad that like the wheels, except then I had to put alclad gold over the alclad chrome so that it made that color. It looks like brass kind of.
It's brassier than the gold on the body.
And then the painted fenders, purple. I just built it because, it's so old that, a lot of older modelers would know what this is, and they would look at it and go, wow, I remember that kit. There was really nothing to it, but look what he did to it, Well, I've gotten a lot of compliments today, and that's pays off for me that they liked it. Anyway, that's what I came up with. And then I had met George Barris at a couple of shows that he's picked my model over best. And I have 3 trophies that were picked by him. And he gave me a bunch of these tags. So I have like about 10 of them. So I just put them on some of the models that I build that,
That's a great display.
Yeah, thank you.
I like your lights. It really put some nice pings on all the bright work.
Well, this is a 99-cent store mirror, and what I did was I painted the outer edge gold, and then the mirror I put sand in there to make it look like it was on the beach. My lights are made out of styrene, 4 corners, and then I put a piece of styrene rod and then drilled a hole here and put another sleeve. And then these are 3-volt bulbs with 3-volt batteries.
This is probably the most perfect electrical connection I've ever seen.
I mean, it works, I mean, it's like
it's 2 prongs in the battery, and you're a business.
It's so simple, and the batteries last all day, and it's $1 for the frame. People are like going, "That's really cool. Where'd you get that?" I said, "I made it."
So these builds, you're a quick builder. How many, like of what we've seen, were these all built in the past year or two?
Well, I brought 11 models to this show, and within the last 3 years.
11 models.
11 models within the last 3 years, and I'd say a year and a half of that I didn't build because of COVID and not being able to go places and family situations at home and, just different things. So actually I'd say a year and a half. People know that I can build a model like this detailed in 2 to 3 months.
Always a popular class at GSL, the Customs. For this final round, 4th place goes for the ZZR Spy Rod to Dr. Teresi. Second place goes to Dr. Teresi for the throttle engine. Next up is the replica class. 4th place, Thompson Mustang Funny Car, Teresi.